you purchased this first one
Mhm.
in Omaha. 34, 34 of the 50 lots are filled. Talk to me about like, are these things huge cash flowers? I mean, at a price of 350, it had to be working out pretty well. Like,
Yeah.
is it a big cash flow play? Are there a bunch of other reasons? You mentioned some of the management. I'd love to hear more about the management structure. Like, what's the day to day? Do you have to have someone on site? Talk to us
Yeah.
on some of the intricacies here, Dane.
It's absolutely cash flow. So Justin, who got me into it, I mean, that's his whole thing, right? Is investing in things that are going to pay cash flow. Um,
Yes.
and that's, something that is uniquely different than the market, let's say, right? Of having your money in the stock market.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say as of late, though, is, man, it has been a massive appreciation game as well.
Mm.
As Wall Street money, if you will, has been looking for other places to park. Mobile home park space has been discovered is what it is, a cash flow cow for a lot of people. And it's remarkable how many people are in the space that you wouldn't know. So, for instance, an example, Kyle, like I don't think you were at the Florida retreat. I think that was the one right before the one that you came to for Front Row Dads.
Mm-hmm.
And I hop, we're on like that free time. I hop into the pool. I meet Tyler Gunter. And I'm like, Tyler, hey, nice to meet you. What do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm in the mobile home park space. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I do a little bit in there as well. I said, how many parks do you have? And he's like, oh, my partners and I have, I don't remember the number. It was like 35. And I'm like, got it. I got one. So we're basically, doing the same thing. And so this was a few years ago. I think at that time I had two. But it was like I don't think you've met Staffy yet, but you're going to meet Staffy. Same deal. He's got, I don't know, 10, 13 parks, Tim Nicklive, Justin Donald. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
just in the Front Row Dad community, there are so many different guys that's where they've really, spent their time. And not just spent their time, but like really focused on growing because of the cash flow options. So when you think about it, it's however many residents that you have. Like the park that we just bought, we have 86 residents. And so we have 86 people paying rent every single month. And at that park,
Mm-hmm.
the rent is right around $400. And
Okay.
so, think about the amount that brings in. And then the expenses on a park are pretty set. You've got your regular maintenance, let's call it lawn care, snow removal, that type of stuff, which, you can somewhat estimate. And
Yep.
then the big questions are who's paying for water and sewer. Parks,
Yep.
that's one where we could spend a little bit of time on. Then there's electricity. And then there's garbage, right? So at all
Okay.
of our parks, we pay for the garbage. Water is a really interesting one. And in the space, there's a lot of people that have begun, instead of raising rates, build back water.
Mm.
And that is so. For instance, on the two parks that we have now, we've gone and installed these Bluetooth water meters, Medtron on
Oh.
all of the homes. So now we can actually see the exact water usage for every single home, and we can see it real time. So there's alerts in the system where if somebody has a leak that starts at 1 a.m., we'll get notified via email. When I say we, I won't. My manager will get emailed via from this alert system that'll say, "Hey, there's appears to be a leak, level 1, 2, or however severe it is at this person's home." And
Mm-hmm.
so we don't have runaway water bills anymore. And
Wow.
the park that we purchased in December, that park, their regular water bills were between $15,000 to $22,000 a month. The one that I was telling you with the 86 tenants. Okay.
Wow.
They spent money to fix it. So that kind of stalled our negotiations because they said, well, we said, you got to fix that, before we're going to move further. So they spent a lot of money, got some things fixed. The water bills were still around like $15,000, $16,000, but we went through with the deal at a renegotiated price. I just today texted my father-in-law and I said the new water bill came in and it was $7,000. And
Oh
so just in the
my.
water, we're saving a ton that's in there, which is really exciting. Um,
And then you solve that by not necessarily having to put in infrastructure like underground meters and all that. It was just the Bluetooth. It was a technology solve essentially.
So we spent, I mean, when it's all said and done, we probably invested $10,000 into the equipment. And then we have meters on every single one. And we sent, so we didn't raise, we're not billing back water. And that's the interesting thing. We're still paying the bill. We didn't bill back water. We just sent a notice that said water is, to the community. It's grossly excessive usage happening within the park. And the bill is out of hand. And so if we can't get it cleared up, we will have to raise rents to justify it. And so we said we're going to install water meters, and it's not, and it is so that we can let you know if yours is excessive or not. It just us before we even installed the meters, the bill went down to like $10,000.
Wow.
And now that we've had the meters on for a couple of months, our park manager's been able to like update people, and we're not billing it back. We just told them if they're over a certain amount of usage, which like what we think is excessive, then they'll pay a penalty. But we'll warn them throughout the month to let them know so they can avoid it.
Man, I love that. And it's such a fun topic because it's like the scale of your problem solving is just multiplied in an investment like this.
Yes, right.
It's not just, made this one great decision for a single family house. It's like times 86, boom. Yes. You go from 22,000 to 7,000. And it was for, you're dividing it by 3 on a monthly, and it only cost you 10,000 one time, man. That's a pretty amazing problem solve. So you take care of garbage. That's just something that's probably pretty common. When you said electricity, are you just talking like common area, like streets and everything? Everybody has their own electric bill, right?
They have their own electric bill, yeah. And then we have a real small bill for like the lights and stuff that are at the park. Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
Very small.
What about insurance? Do you have to carry a certain insurance, or is it just kind of umbrella style?
It's umbrella style. Now, if we own some homes, we would have those insured.
Correct.
Right. So at the park that is 86, I want to say we own 4 of them.
Gotcha.
4 or 5 or something like that.
And like, how many spots is in that park?
124. So we're at, so we bought it as is, 124, 86. We closed on that last December. And we're working with the local community college. So we butt up against a technical community college. And this is in Minnesota, and they reached out to us. It's kind of cool. And their construction they have a new construction program. They're going to build homes, modular homes, to put into our park.
Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it.
That's been like a godsend. They reached out to us. We're like, are you serious? Yeah, we're interested in that. Sounds great.
I mean, is this common to see? What is that number? I mean, that's like 70% occupancy for like using up your spaces. Is it like, hey, get to 124 out of 124 as fast as you can?
That would be the model. I mean, if we came in with a couple extra $1 million to buy a bunch of homes and put them in there, we would do it. And we wouldn't do it all. We wouldn't do it all at once. But man, like it is. If you were to go and find 10 mobile home parks, I almost guarantee you that they won't have an open home. In other words, filling a home is not the difficult thing. It's getting the home.
Gotcha. And it's not a thing where people bring, I mean, these are mobile.
It is, but it's just not often.
Okay.
We had like in our park that we're at now, like the one that I am referencing in Minnesota. Since we purchased in December, one person left, but somebody also came in. They brought their own home.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So then you talked about, I mean, I love to hear the expense model that you're kind of explaining for like management, the operation structure, I should say. Lawn, snow, of course. And again, you can kind of get estimates. There's some economies of scale there. Talk to me about like management. Do you have like one person? Is it a company that manages it for you?
So you can go property management company if you want. That costs a little bit more. Obviously, there's the perk of that of just like out of sight, out of mind, right? It's just an investment for you at that point.
And they're taking, I mean, are they charging the same, like a percentage of your probably lot rents only, right?
They usually are going to be set up on some sort of arrangement around that, right? In terms of how many tenants they're working with and size. Now, we do not do that. So our 2 parks that we have right now, One of them is similar in size to that Omaha park that we sold. So it's 52 spaces and we have 38 filled. At that park, we do not have an on-site manager, but we have somebody who is there. It's a really unique situation, but our park manager there works as a public care assistant or personal care assistant, excuse me, PCA. So she had a client that's in the park, but she has experience with property and fixing things. And so she is our manager on that park. She doesn't get paid a ton, but there's not a lot for her to do because we don't own any of the homes there.
Yeah. I mean,
Right.
what is there to do? I mean, that's a huge thing.
So we pay her $500 a month, and she's basically just the communication piece to the residents. And she doesn't collect money. All the money gets deposited straight to the local bank. So she's not handling any money. We don't have to worry about theft or anything. And she's basically there to let us know if, hey, this needs to be fixed, or this is out of hand, or there was a storm and this came through, or hey, this person's not paying their rent. So for a while, when we sold the Omaha park and we just had that, I would manage her. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I dislike that. And so hence us trying to find a larger park. So we had a little bit more skin on the bone so we could place a person, kind of in between there. So once we purchased the other park in December, that park has a husband and wife duo. And this isn't that uncommon that live in the park. She's the one that handles rents and talking to tenants and getting notices out. And then he is a full-time contractor. So then he works in the park fixing things and whatnot as well. And then I now have since then somebody who used to work for me, who I have a great relationship with, wants to get into real estate. So she now manages those two. I trained her on basically being my own property management company, if you will. And she's been doing a great job and it's awesome. So I basically have a call once a month with her to just go over the progress of where things are at. So she's the one who checks the water meter system. She's the one who's checking rents and doing that. She's the one who handles evictions. And so I just needed to get her connected with all those people. And then she reaches out to me for decisions, but she's the one who executes everything.
Man. So, I mean, when we're talking passive income, which is why we're on this podcast, this is a 1 hour a month, truly, the way that you have it set
now
up.
It is.
1 hour. Yeah, now it is. Before you had a little more run because you were managing the on-site manager is what happened there.
Yep.
Okay. That makes sense. Still, not a ton of responsibilities for that on-site manager. I think that this is such a unique thing, and it makes sense because people own their place. They just don't own the land that it sits on, and it's kind of it's just a great concept, really, and I get why it was created, and it's an interesting thing that it's going away.